is Houze. My piece is entitled High Key, and first I just want to let you know I like to get some kind of back and forth conversation whenever I like to do my talks, so I might do like a couple of questions in between just so you know ahead of time. So it's number 45 on the sheets, so if that helps out a little bit as well. So the first question is, when you look at the piece, what's like the first thing, why do you think I titled it High Key?
I don't know if it's low in the summer or low in the,
Just a rough estimate.
High key. High key.
Maybe the model.
Cool. It's,
I
yeah.
was thinking maybe like the contrast between shadow and light.
Yes. So high key is traditionally when using a lot of like lighter content. So whenever I was referring to high key, then it would be like bright whites and like very small shades, and usually you don't get like the splotches of like the heavy contrast in it. So it kind of went against the grain in that sense. But when it's like referred to low key, it would be the complete opposite, where it's like much more darker and much things like that. So I worked with a model. She actually is a fine art model. She is a very traditional like art model. She does a lot of like ballet and things like that. So I reached out to her after talking to her for some time, and I said I wanted to try some work with you. So we met in around a couple months ago, so I wanted to try to go for a much more classical style, much more black and white, very modern art and like contemporary. So when we worked together, we tried a lot of different variations, and she had this very long skirt, as you see, that she actually wove herself. And I think it went to about 6 feet long, I believe. I could be wrong, but I know from my angle, it went from right here to probably where your foot is right here, to get a general sense of like the length of it. So when we started working with the piece, I said I wanted to show a lot of like flow, a lot of motion. So we took in a lot of like inspiration of a lot of figure style modeling, also from like back in the day when they would start to do like the original photography in that sense. So we took inspiration from that and tried to do like a lot of different poses and things. And I wanted light that felt very dynamic also as well. So even when you see, if the light was straight on, then you wouldn't see the definition of the muscles in her back and like the certain details that oftentimes we don't see enough of. So I started angling a little bit further down to kind of show like a much more strength in that aspect. So I wanted her to feel very elegant. I wanted her to still feel very strong in her pose, and I wanted her to look at it and say, wow, I remember this from like in a museum. And when I shot it, I traditionally shot it in color, and I said, this doesn't need color. It doesn't need color. So I said, I took it away, I intensified the contrast to make it much more dynamic in that sense. If anybody has any questions into it.
So you developed that in your own darkroom?
I don't have a darkroom. I still currently work in a digital age, but if I was able to work in a darkroom for this kind of shot, I would gladly do it.
And how many other shots did you take? Do you have an idea?
Honestly, somewhere around 4, maybe 500.
Wow.
Yeah. It takes a long time to get the shot right, in a general sense. So I think it's a lot of different varieties also of a leg position one way, and then, because it's a lot of different details in that. I think I saw one more.
Yeah. So was she in motion in this photo? And I had a comment.
For this one, no, she wasn't.
Okay.
But we did do some more in motion where there was some like jumping and things like that. But usually I tend to like to have the moment where they catch them on 3. So when they pose a certain way, they have it in their head, and then they go 1, 2, 3, and then I catch it in a genuine moment.
Yeah, and I really appreciated that you can see the definition of her back muscles, because that's a part of the dancer's body that's like so strong, and you don't see that a lot in women too. It's like, she looks very strong in the stage.